What's up, guys? I'm SaltEMike, and this is your Star Citizen Week in Review for March 3rd, 2025. 4.0.2 is live, and the Supply or Die event comes with it. We finally got a roadmap update, and it kind of delivered, and CIG still can't persist our items and ships for now. All that and more on today's Week in Review. And as always, if this is your first week in review, this is where I take all of the official Star Citizen news each week, put it into one video, and share my opinions about it. I also live stream on Twitch, twitch.tv/SaltEMike. Stop by and say hi if you haven't yet. I always like when you guys come over from here and say hi while I'm live. So before we jump into the video, let me share with you today's sponsor. Thank you to Manta Sleep for sponsoring today's video. My wife and I have slept in separate rooms for years now because I need sound and, more importantly, things like podcasts or videos to fall asleep when she needs complete silence. We decided to get a bed for the two of us and try to make it work now that we have Manta Sleep in our lives, specifically the Manta Sleep Sound Mask, which is a Bluetooth sleep mask that has razor-thin headphones for side sleepers like myself. It has 20-hour battery life, and I've gotten a lot more than 2 weeks of sleep on one charge so far, but the best feature is the adjustable speakers. I can move them to make sure they're right on my ears to keep the volume as low as possible for her, while I can hear clearly for me. So like other masks, they have interchangeable eye cups, but the C-shaped cups are recommended for side sleepers like myself. And the mask is designed for airflow to maximize comfort. So if you're like me and need something to distract your mind to calm it down and let it sleep, head over to mantasleep.com using the link in the description below and use code SaltEMike to get 10% off your order. As always, thanks for sticking through the ads as they've really kind of taken the show to the next level. And now, with that said, let's get into the patch updates. We start out on Monday with a 4.0.2 PTU, and the testing focus section was interesting this week. It starts out with all the normal stuff, but then they removed the tutorial missions. These have been a problem since they have been in. I had lead producer Phil, I think that's his title, in the chat when I was speculating about this, and he said it should be back in the next patch. They're also hopefully ending these long loading times. And for the most part, throughout the week, my experience got better with loading times. They then got the Starlancer Max in the game as expected from last week, which is what we talked about. It seems to be about on the right price, just under 9 million in comparison to ships like the Caterpillar, maybe. Caterpillar kind of has double its cargo, so what are your thoughts on that? And the Guardian QI has its endurance timer adjusted. And I like that they included that in the notes, like what it should be, so when I go and look and see if it isn't, we can let them know about that. So for bugs, it's all potential fixes as it's been, but nothing sticking out to me, as many of these have been fixed multiple times now, so who knows if they're actually fixed, right? Then Tuesday, 4.0.2 PTU, the first thing here of note is that it was considered a release candidate. The main goal here is the testing focus is achieved kind of, sort of. The elevators don't appear to be getting us locked out of playing, but they aren't exactly working either, right? And right away on Tuesday, we have tutorial missions back, as Phil told us, but with an interesting twist. Medical beacons have been removed from the game. I saw no indication as to why, so I would love to know what's going on there. For bugs, another small one. Towards the bottom, you see why the tutorial mission was removed, as they fixed some major issues with it. And then a mass client crash. That one, I'm not sure what that is, so leave a comment and let me know what that is all about. Then Wednesday, 4.0.2 PTU, they confirmed that the new player experience will be enabled at Lorville and New Babbage kind of only, because that's where they're confident it will work, along with more transit fixes. For bugs, the big one was with our hangars not storing correctly. Basically, if you left a ship in the hangar and left, it wouldn't store it and it would disappear and you'd have to claim it. I'm not seeing anything to claim now, so it might be fixed, but won't know for sure until we're live on the servers for a little bit longer, right? Then Thursday, 4.0.2 PTU, if you haven't noticed, again, these release candidate patches are still coming, right? So live is coming soon. But the main thing of note here is that they fixed a number of exploits, and they won't mention what they are. But if you know, you know. Thank you, Space Cutlet, right? Then they did find an issue. If you have broken a Deditrine container, and you quantum travel with that exploded container, it will blow up the other containers in your cargo grid for some reason, and possibly you. So the workaround is to remove the broken containers, all right? And then Friday, as expected, because CIG is the only software company that releases on a Friday, 4.0.2 goes live. It's pretty simple. It's the culmination of all the patches we've been talking about for weeks. The main goal was the stabilization of some of our experiences. There's still a ton of bugs, but, you know, we're out of elevator hell as far as I can tell, right? But we're going to need a lot more time, like I said, at least a week to know for sure. But the elevators are showing up, and that's good. And with the live patch came the next event. Supply or die. This is simple. The slicers have been fought back for now, but the main two factions are still rocking, right? Citizens for Prosperity and the Headhunters, and they're asking you to help supply them with what they need to kind of decide Pyro's future. And we'll talk a little bit more about that in the video update section. And then, yeah, what the key here is that the event rewards, right? And what we need to do to get them. And they hinted that the choices are going to factor in, right? So do you want peaceful and prosperous Pyro, or do you want a lawless Wild West? The choice is going to be ours. In order to make that choice, it's deliver RMC or construction materials or minerals or a new commodity Deditrine for huge rewards and points. The points are used towards earning three things: a diorama commemorating your participation, a shotgun with a neon spray paint, and finally, 3 skins for the Vulture, the Prospector, and the Fortune. 3 individual skins, 1 for each, with that neon spray paint. You don't need to own the ships to get the skins. You're just going to have them, and maybe you could do something one day with them if you don't have the ships, right? Friday was my birthday, so I only got a few hours Saturday morning to try out this experience, and it kind of was as expected, right? Players found loopholes and took advantage of them, and then we took advantage of those players, right? I earned about 2,100 points simply moving cargo for a pirate who was catching 3 people at a time from Magnus Gateway. It was pretty fun. I plan on doing more like RP-like content with my org, kind of stocking up on salvage or mining, pretending that Star Citizen is real and not completely unoptimized and broken and just, you know, not well thought out yet, right? But with like my alternate characters or something. How are you guys enjoying the event? I feel like CIG hasn't quite nailed it on the head yet, but I had a good time, right? And that's why we play video games. I think sometimes I have to remind myself and you guys about that, is that, you know, with the way things have been all over all these years, is, yeah, we're here to have fun, right? And then a hotfix is incoming. I think at this point, it's simply part of their system of release that they'll patch with a plan to hotfix within the next week or so, right? It's gone on since 4.0 launched, and this time is no different. They open a hotfix page already on Spectrum where they update the post after each fix. It currently isn't showing any fixes, but it's expected for them to start sending these out probably by the time this video gets into your hands. Launcher update is next, and on Tuesday we got a 2.3.1 launcher update, which seems to be focused on allowing us to delete some local settings and files more easily, like our shader folder. And with that, let's move into a roadmap update. All right, and for release view, they start out with a number of redacted things for not 4.1, but for, because they're patching so often, the 4.1.x cycle, because we'll probably have, you know, up to 3 patches for 4.1. They mention a mission giver, and I just have to say we have like 5 of these already, and they're either not working or not up to any sort of standard at all. So not sure why we're getting a new one here. But yeah, then they also have the location for that person and a sandbox activity, whatever that means. I'm not sure. Let me know in the comments what guesses you have for this. I got no idea. And then the next is an armor set on the roadmap. And I'm not sure what this could be, but the only stuff we know about our armor changes are like radiation from SitCon 2023 or what we learned from CitizenCon last year. But those kind of changes would require all armors to be adjusted. So I'm kind of lost on this one. Let me know what you guys think. And then the next is a space combat mission with improved scenario design and refined storytelling, right? Sounds like something to do with the mission giver. So I assume this is for one of these events or something like that, and it's already announced for a .x patch, so it's not coming right away. It's definitely not coming next month, right? And then the Vault weapons. We heard a lot about these, but not all of them were listed in the roadmap. The shotgun and the pistol were omitted, even though there was a pretty good description of them in a forum post a few weeks back. Lastly, one of the more interesting ones is Hathor stations. These are in Stanton, and Hathor in lore is this mining company that has, well, basically its employees don't have a high moral standard. So we have to assume that this is some part of the story that they want to tell, maybe that B story they were talking about. I just like a story not being told in Pyro, which is kind of nice. But the sneaky thing is, these locations are from Theaters of War. So people are making the assumption that Theaters of War is coming. I'm doing the opposite. I think they're using assets sitting around collecting dust in the PU to continue to build it out. So let me know, again, what you guys think on that. And then for 1.0 in the progress tracker, we talked a lot last year about the 1.0 cards, right? And how this works is it's a list of wants. It's a shopping list, and you will see them essentially cross something off that list for 1.0 when it moved into a patch like a 4.1. And the additions to this are pretty funny, as they're all basically items from CitizenCon 2023. And the same goes for the progress tracker. It's largely useless to look at this in any detail, in my opinion at least, as it doesn't tell us when we will enjoy the features in the game. So link to this post is in the description if you want to look into it in more detail, but I think it just makes the most sense to just focus on what is next, and that's 4.1. And with that, let's move into video updates. All right, and as we know, we just get one video a week now. This was an Inside Star Citizen titled Strategic Reserve. So this week's episode is all about supply or die and its narrative kind of thing that we're going to see here in March. And they start out explaining what it's all about.
So our next chapter in March is called Supply or Die. This is split into 3 parts of the event. This is where the CFP and the Headhunters are coming off half the heels of the invasion of the Frontier Fighters, and they're trying to resupply and rebuild to continue the efforts of attacking the Frontier Fighters. This event is essentially a one-shot. You have to play it in March, and when the next patch drops after that, you won't be able to play it again or earn the rewards. With this narrative arc that we're doing for the rest of this year, we're really trying to build these moments in our history where you as the player will come in and experience it, and then if you was here for it, great. But if you wasn't, you've missed out.
So first off, this is clearly not the last that we'll see of the Frontier Fighters or the Slicers, whatever you want to call them. The fight will continue, but I think most people are held up on the one-shot comments from Elliot. I saw a lot of comments about the game being really rough in the last arc, and people don't feel that this is the time for things like this, right? But you got to remember, since Overdrive, these missions have absolutely driven player engagement and concurrency, which not only makes the company look good internally, but it also is what the team needs to kind of get that general experience that we are going to have when the game is better, hopefully. It's the only way to figure these things out is with concurrency. So these things help drive that. There's a lot that's going on here, why they're doing it. Let me be clear, right? Those are my feelings, but I absolutely understand and respect the opinion that it does suck right now to do these, and it is not enjoyable. But it's not black and white, right? There's more depth to this, and the concurrency helps. So doing anything that drives some player engagement isn't a bad thing, but it just may not feel good while you're playing, and I get it. And next, they touch on the actual design behind the payouts and the rewards.
The thing that's unusual about these missions is that they're designed to encourage group play. There's nothing stopping you doing it solo. You can absolutely do it solo, although obviously in Pyro you have to take appropriate precautions if you're playing solo. But each of these missions, if you can get together a group of friends to help out, you will probably find that it will be more successful.
Did you unfix that terrible fix that you did last patch?
The initial design of EVR has been fairly successful, but it definitely has areas it needs to be improved with, and one of those areas is enabling group play instead of suppressing group play. And the design intention is to move away from reward splitting. So with that in mind, we're taking steps towards that, and these missions and the way that the rewards are structured for these missions is a good indication of that design intention.
So with all this, the mission reward system is changing, right?
The rewards that you will get will scale with the size of the group that we expect for each mission. So the small missions are designed for solo players, the medium missions are designed for around 4 to 5 to 6 players, and the large missions are designed for 10 and above players. And in subsequent patches, the rewards will scale dynamically to the group that you have. And depending on the mission type that you're doing, whether it's the salvage or the mining or the datatrine, your rewards will scale accordingly. Bear in mind that for the datatrine missions, you have to put up the money to buy the commodity, and you will be rewarded enough to compensate you for what you've bought and a little bit extra. The other thing to bear in mind is that all of these missions have a secondary reward mechanic, which is that you are working to get tickets so that you can get the unique rewards, which you can only get during this mission, during this month, and then they will never be offered again.
It's like the redemption at Chuck E. Cheese.
I don't understand the reference, but okay.
So I'm sorry for not editing that one down, but I think it was really important for you to listen to it. It was a long one, but that is the most important part of the video because it defines Star Citizen's mission rewards in the future. They do not want what we currently are experiencing, so expect rep to not be split anymore, but money to continue to be perhaps. The system with the reward splitting and supply or die is almost perfect in my opinion. The main issue is that even in a group, the small missions give you the rewards faster, and that's what most people want, I would think, because right now money doesn't really matter in Star Citizen. So the largest missions are kind of the best to make money, but how many people are going to go through that much work for money that doesn't matter, right? And then the last clip hints at the importance of your participation in these events and kind of a little peek at the rewards that you're going to get.
The idea is that these missions will tie into that. The side that you choose to work with will have a lasting impact. The choices you make will define the universe that you live in. And the really cool thing about Supply or Die is because of the 3 different mission types we offer you, you can get all of the rewards without ever firing a shot. And that's really exciting.
Like it or not, and again, I totally understand if you don't, but the people participating in the events will now shape the story of the Pyro system. So choose your faction wisely. All right, and then we start out with a sneak peek. Now, I never got to play Theaters of War in testing because it was always on the weekend and I was working in the casino, and you got to work on the weekends in a casino. But this could be the Hathor station or something entirely different. As you can see, the right side is an asteroid or a rock, but the bottom looks like it's looking down on the light side of a planet or a moon. So, or it just can be in like a test level. I have no idea, but I'm just going to throw out a guess here. A new asteroid base, maybe? What do you guys think? Leave a comment down below. That one's pretty interesting. And then for dev posts, we start out with, will there be another wipe, right? And Niku popped in to let us know that the contested zone key cards, looted weapons, components, and all that will be not saved. But it will be saved once 4.0.2 is live, right? So they fixed the key cards, they fixed the looted weapons, they fixed components. Those should not disappear. But he also said your contested zone ships would not be lost from 4.1 or 4.0.1 to 4.0.2. And a lot of people lost a lot of contested zone ships. So can we trust that they nailed this one on any level? No, probably not. But I'm going to try this time to farm some components and see what happens this patch. For me, this is the time to make the attempt. And fingers crossed it sticks, but until they actually prove that they can, it's hard for us to believe, right? Then the P8AR, I think we spoke about this one last week, but I think it's probably a good reminder to let you know, because it's a very powerful weapon. The P8AR can be found in the little open weapon crates in contested zones now, not on any NPCs, not in any shops, so head there if you want to try it out. And then I'm just going to include this one in the dev post section because it was posted by a dev, but this will be the Star Citizen Live next week. It is the mission team that was on ISC answering your questions, and they're looking for your questions in this post. And if you click the link in the description, check it out. The top questions are super relevant in terms of the, like, hey, we're not really enjoying these events because the game isn't that enjoyable and we don't like the FOMO stuff. So yeah, we'll see how they answer those and how they feel about it. And I hope they address the community's concerns. This year is going to be a weird one, and I think we just need to be open and honest and, you know, just lay it all out there, right? And then Jump Point Magazine, it's new this month. So yeah, it's the one that covers the Missed Fortune, Save Stanton, and the story that's kind of unfolding right now, as well as the Anvil Hornet. It's pretty good and gives you the lore if you're interested. And it also kind of, this was at the end of the magazine. So if you wonder what happened, you know, if we bought the Deditrine to Stanton, it seems like there might be lucrative spots to sell this stuff, but I don't know any, so leave a comment down below and I'll try to highlight that for next week's episode. And that'll do it for this week. So thank you so much for watching Week in Review. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I enjoy making it every week for you guys. So leave a like if you did, comment down below on anything we discussed today, and subscribe for more Weeks in Review. And I will catch you guys next week.